violists, we're going to be working on Sunflower today. First, let's warm up with a G major scale since this piece is going to be G major. So G, A on the first finger, B second finger, C third finger, D fourth finger, and then E first finger again, F sharp, and then G. And then you go back in the backwards order. Let's play it slowly. Make sure that your fingers are supporting each other. So for the third and fourth finger, which are the weakest ones, make sure you put down the previous two fingers to support. For example, the third finger, you put down 1 and 2 as well. For the fourth finger, you put down these 3 for support. They don't really have to press all the way down into the string. They're just down so that your energy can relax into the fourth finger. I'm going to play it through ones for you first. I'm setting the metronome to quarter note equals to 120, which is slightly slower than what we're looking for, which is 160. But for now, I want you to follow along with me in the score and watch out for the changes in articulation and dynamics. Going to 57. Let's now take it apart a little bit. So the two things I asked you to watch out for are articulation and dynamic. Let's take measure 1 for example. It starts with a mezzo forte. The range of the dynamic in this entire piece goes from piano to fortissimo. So it's a very wide range. Make sure you plan it out first and you save your energy at mezzo forte or forte because you know you have a louder place to go, and also don't go too soft in mezzo piano because you have piano also in this piece. And the articulation in measure 1, well, our measure 1, but the measure 9 for the entire piece. So the articulation here, you can see the dots are only on the third and fourth notes. So make sure you differentiate the strokes here. It has more connected and then dots. So for the dots, which we call it staccato, you attack the string and then lift and then for up bow as well, you tack and then lift. So for measure 11, as you can see, we have 8 notes and then 2 quarter notes with staccato, the dots on it. So you'll do once again, more connected, and then dots. And this kind of articulation basically applies to all the way from measure 9 to measure 32. Only on measure 2, 3, 4, measure 25 here, you have a change of dynamic from mezzo forte to forte. So what I'll do is I use a wider bow arm. So measure 25, we have forte, as much bow as possible within the rhythm and within the beats. The first 4 measures starting from measure 37, we are no longer the melodies here. So make sure we play the supportive role. We are the harmonies, the cello and bass, they have the melody here. So let's be supportive, not too soft and not too strong. Let's just be there holding the bass for them. Starting from measure 41, we're going into a syncopated section in which the rhythm sounds like, if I set the metronome quarter note equals to 100, it'll sound like this. 4, 3, 2, 1. To emphasize the rhythm here, a very little gap created by the bow change is allowed here. So if I play measure 41 with the metronome on, it'll sound like this. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you've noticed, there's a down bow mark on each B that's played. So every 2 measure, you have a retake. So a retake is when you're going from a down bow to a down bow again. And in this case, there is definitely gonna be a gap when you're doing the down bow retake. But even though a gap is allowed, make sure you still stay as long as possible within the rhythm before you do the retake, so the syncopated feeling is more solid and more complete. So once again, measure 41. 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a cut from measure 49 to 56. So starting from measure 57, we're building a crescendo from piano to fortissimo in 2 measures. This is a very limited time to make such a big crescendo, but it's very commonly seen in orchestral music. So in order to make it sound dramatic, we have to exaggerate our bow use. So starting from piano on an up bow, F sharp on the 2nd finger here. So starting from piano, we have to save our bow as much as possible and then increase the amount of bow you're using as you do the crescendo. So let me do it. I'm setting metronome to quarter note equals to 120. Let me show you a slower version of how to plan your bow in these 2 measures. So starting from very little and save it as much as possible. And then increase the bow speed and the amount of bow you're using along the crescendo. Once again, starting from very little. play it with metronome quarter note equals to 120, it'll sound like this. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the last two measures, as you can see, we ended up on the fortissimo after the crescendo. So let's make sure we use a lot of bow for the last two measures, and for the last two notes, they are still staccato, so they are short. Make sure that you differentiate the fortissimo, that's all connected, and the staccato that finishes the piece. The final tempo we're looking for here is quarter note equals to 160, and we practiced it a little bit slower just now, and now I'm going to play through it once with metronome on for quarter note equals to 160 for you to get the feeling and know what's the final result you want to get. Four, three, two, one. Four, three, two, one. That's it for today. See you next time.